Hello, welcome to day 198. We're almost to day 200. It's just a couple of days away. And there's a little surprise for you in the curriculum on day 200 to celebrate 200 days with NTI. So watch for that. Also, I'm going to put this right up front because I think I'll forget if I save it to the end. About every 100 days as we go through this curriculum, I'm going to prompt you to consider donating to Awakening Together. And since this is the review day closest to day 200, I want to prompt you about that today. So remember, you can just go to the Awakening Together website, awakening-together.org, find donate on the menu bar, and you'll be able to donate from there. Other than that, what I think I would like to do today is go over some of the things that I highlighted as I was reading and contemplating NTI John. This week, we started, I believe, with around NTI John chapter 3. And my highlights start in NTI John chapter 4, verses 1 to 26. Those who are guided by the light, but do not recognize its guidance, know not where they are or why. And so they look elsewhere for their own salvation and happiness. So what this is indicating is that there's a perfection here that almost no one is aware of. At all times, regardless of appearance, we are always in the right place at the right time in order to turn our attention to truth. We don't have to be in a different marriage or a different job or a different location. Wherever we're at all times, is the perfect opportunity to turn our attention to truth. But again, it says that a lot of people, in fact, most people, do not know why they are where they are right now. And so they look elsewhere. They look away from truth for their salvation and their happiness. And really, they could look in any direction. They could look to romance, to their partner for salvation or happiness. They could look to their pets, to their children, to drugs, to alcohol, to television, to crafts, to diets. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Instead of taking this moment and turning the attention to truth and finding the joy in truth, we look out and we try to find the joy or find our salvation in other things. And NTI John chapter 4 says, when they find what they think is happiness within the darkness, they enjoy it for a time. And remember, darkness in NTI John refers to manifestation. So this is saying that when we find things that make us happy in manifestation, we're happy for a time. But then the joy it brought seems lost, and they thirst for joy again. So it's always temporary. And I think we've all experienced this, like with romance, right? We fall in love. Oh my gosh, falling in love can feel so good. But that never lasts. And so what some people do is hop from relationship to relationship. Other people just move into acceptance that that isn't what love is. And they stay with their partner maybe, but they begin to look to other things to really give them that joy. Travel, bigger house, newer car, right? It goes on and on. So if we think anything in manifestation is the cause of our joy, any joy that we experience is temporary, and then we go out seeking the joy again. Always, every man is where he needs to be, guided there by the light, because he has asked for guidance and he has welcomed it. But if he has not accepted it as it is and where it is, he does not recognize what he has welcomed because he has not welcomed it fully. One way to understand this is that our desire for happiness, our pursuit for happiness, that's really how we ask for guidance. We always want to find happiness, love, security, and that's kind of a signal for guidance. But because we don't understand that happiness, love, security is found in our reality, in truth, right? Because we don't understand that, we don't accept that. Therefore, we aren't looking within to discover what we are and to see that as the answer to our seeking. And so we keep looking outward, right? NTI John chapter 5, to know your truth of yourself, you must also welcome your truth unto all that you see and think and know and believe. You cannot keep the truth from anything and know the completeness of the light. The light must be welcomed fully because the light is everything, or you are not welcoming the light and you are choosing to keep it hidden. So if we have begun to accept that our joy comes from our truth, we can't find that joy by, quote, seeing the light here and then looking out there and still seeing darkness, seeing sin, seeing people who are wrong, doing the wrong thing. The joy comes from trusting everything as it is. The joy comes from this feeling that all is well all the time, regardless of appearances. So the light or the truth is something that covers everything, that is the essence of everything. And if we think any part of what we see is left out of that, then we're not accepting the truth fully. And then we can't know that joy, right? In order to know the joy of the truth, we have to accept the truth fully. The light that is within man is not the man as he thinks. It is thinking that hides the light from man. As you choose to think, you choose not to choose the light. Thinking is to choose fantasy. Now, this is really interesting because, here we are in NTI John accepting that our joy comes from the light. We are accepting that the light is everything. And so in order to know the joy, we must accept everything as the light. And now this is telling us how we're not going to get there. It's through thinking. This week we've been asking questions. The most recent question was, what am I? Another question was, may I realize the light? Another question was, what is the light? And as we were asking these questions, the instruction said, don't worry if you don't get an answer. That's really because a lot of times, in fact, probably most of the time when we're asking questions, what we're seeking is an intellectual answer that the mind can understand. And that's not where truth realization comes from. In fact, it's the thinking, the mental understanding that covers up the truth realization. So if I accept, for example, that everything is the light and all is well, and then I see something that upsets me, and I try to come up with a story in my mind, a thinking in my mind that somehow justifies the appearance and makes me feel better. For example, maybe someone shoots some people, and I come up in my mind with, well, that person must have had a hard upbringing, or that person, it must be just mental illness. And somehow that helps me to accept it. That's not seeing the light. The light that is within man is not the man as he thinks. It is thinking that hides the light from man. As you choose to think, you choose as you choose to think, you choose to not choose. There we go. As you choose to think, you choose to not choose the light. Thinking is to choose fantasy. And this again is why we were asking questions and not worrying about whether we got an answer. Just asking, what am I? just asking, what is the light? Because any glimpse of the answer that's going to come is not going to come through thinking. In NTI, John chapter 6, this is what I've highlighted. It is acceptance of the light that opens one's eyes to life, so that he may not see death, but so he may see only life. That which you choose is that which you see. So form is darkness. This is what we're seeing in NTI John. And form includes the body. Most people are attached to the body as what I am, and to the body as what others are. You know, that's my mother pointing to a body. That's my father pointing to a body, right? And bodies are temporary manifestations. So if we think that the life is in the body, when the body ends, we think that life has ended. But the truth is, life has not ended. And you can tell that by just looking away from the body. Look at the grass, at the trees, at the mountains, at the beach, at the prairie, at the insects, and notice that life moves on perfectly. Always. There's never an end to life. And when you really start noticing that there's no end to life, a particular temporary manifestation may come to an end, but life itself always continues. You're getting much closer to truth. Because you see, we are not these bodies, these minds, these personalities. We are that life that's in the sunshine, that life that's in the bumblebees, that life that's in the flowers, that life that's in all humans, that life that's in the grass, that life that's in the water. We are that life. And that life always continues. That life is the light. Sometimes it's called consciousness. That life is the light. And awakening to that as what I am is what NTI John is pointing towards. NTI John chapter 7, the guidance of the light is known from within. One must learn to trust himself to know his guidance, and one must learn to trust his brother to trust himself. One must learn to trust his brother to trust himself. You know, there's this moral in NTI John that keeps repeating in different ways, that you accept the light fully or you don't accept the light. Everyone is guided. Everyone is in the perfect place right now to realize the truth. Everything is the light. And now everything can be trusted. You know, and the mind says, how can that be true? You know, how can I trust the one with the gun? You know, how can I trust the one who lies to me all of the time? How can I trust the one who's addicted to drugs and has stolen from me before? But that's the mind again, and the mind blocks the light. And when the light is blocked, you can't get an answer to how you can trust. My experience of this trust is that it's this sense that all is well. No matter what the appearance, no matter what appears to be going on, all is well. All is the light. All is the way it's supposed to be now, right? All is perfect. This is that trust. And again, what John is pointing out is this is total. because the light is total. So I'm not really accepting the light if I say I trust him and her and him, but not her, right? And again, I won't get to that trust that this is talking about through thinking. It's not through reasoning. It's not through justification. It's seeing. It's knowing. It's realizing. And the types of questions that we're asking now while we're in NTI John, and the contemplations that we're doing of the reading each day, these are the types of practices that help to bring this clarity of seeing and therefore understanding how everything can be trusted regardless of the appearance. Do not tell your brother what he should do. Let him know for himself what he should do and let him do it. This is how we act when we trust. When we don't trust, we feel like we need to tell other people what to do. We feel like we know what's in their best interest. When we do trust, we're able to allow everything to be as it is. We're able to allow each one to make his or her own decisions and choices and trust the whole thing. To trust the guidance from within is to listen with openness and without judgment. When you judge the guidance that you hear, you demonstrate unwillingness to listen. This unwillingness comes from fear, for you fear that to trust guidance without judging it is to lose all sense of yourself and of your world. In this, you are not incorrect. It is only the fear that misleads you. For to lose the sense of yourself as you see yourself now, and to lose your sense of the world as you see the world now, is to lose your sense of what is false and to gain the realization of what is true. So now, of course, we're talking about our own guidance, what we feel to do or say or not do or not say, etc. And this is saying that I will only be able to trust my guidance if I listen to it without judgment. Because when we judge our guidance, we're judging our guidance from the desire to keep me safe. That's the fear. The fear is that somehow the guidance is going to lead me into a situation where me isn't safe. And this says, in this, you are not incorrect. What isn't safe is the idea that I am the person. When I follow the guidance, it is leading me to let go of that idea that I am the person and to see myself as the light, as the life, as the eternal that is beyond the person. So the fact that guidance doesn't keep the person feeling safe and secure is not a bad thing. If awakening is what I want. To trust the guidance from within is to listen with openness and without judgment. When you judge the guidance that you hear, you demonstrate an unwillingness to listen. I'm afraid to follow that guidance because I'm afraid me won't be safe. This unwillingness comes from fear. For you fear that to trust guidance without judging it, without making sure that it's in my best interest, is to lose all sense of yourself and your world. In this, you are not incorrect. It is only the fear that misleads you. It is only the fear of losing yourself, the idea that somehow that's bad. That's what misleads you. For to lose the sense of yourself as you see yourself now, and to lose your sense of the world as you see the world now, is to lose your sense of what is false and to gain the realization of what is true. I am the light. It is all the light. I am life. It is all life. Life is perfect and unchanging and eternal. Ah, now I know where that all is well feeling comes from. Now I know why I can trust all things. Confusion comes from the mind that tries to think. Again, don't try and figure all this stuff out. This mind tries to reason and make sense of what cannot make sense. But this mind craves sense over chaos. In order for the mind to feel secure, it has to think that it knows, even though lots of times it makes up what it thinks it knows. In order to see the truth, to realize the truth, we have to become comfortable with, I don't know. We have to become comfortable with what's often called the mystery, staying in the I don't know mind. The I know mind is the ego. The I don't know mind is the innocence of a little child, which opens our eyes to truth. Ask the mind to rest its questions and seek not for answers. The heart will lead you to the identity you seek. So again, we're not going to find our way there through thinking and figuring out. It's the innocence of I don't know. The innocence of being. Again, this is one reason we're practicing this abiding in being meditation. Being, we're back to the term being cognition, being perception. Just being with everything in an I don't know state of mind is the innocence that opens our eyes to the light, which is life, which is eternal, which is what I am. So this week we're going to continue with our contemplations, because the best way to read NTI John is to also contemplate it and get our own insight regarding what it says. It's never helpful to just read quickly, be done with it, grab the assignment and move on, right? This is although we're not taking a lot of time, we still want to take enough time to kind of take this in a way that can bring this insight, which is beyond the thinking mind. Let me look ahead at what we'll be doing this week. As I mentioned, there's a little surprise for you on day 200. Of course, we're going to continue with the being meditation, which can be eyes open or eyes closed, with the videos or without. You will be coming up with your own question on a couple of different days this week. I've been giving you questions to ask, but you're going to have the opportunity to kind of come up with your own questions. So that's something that's coming this week. We're also, we've just talked about how thinking will not get you there, right? Thinking hides the light. We're going to watch a Leo video this weekend called Grasping the Illusory Nature of Thought. So that's a very good video to look forward to. You'll also have a guided meditation this weekend that you'll look at. It will come out on day 203. Yeah, I think that's really all I have to say about what's coming this week. So again, I do remember, consider donating to Awakening Together as we approach this 200-day point in order to say thank you for the curriculum. It's always, I think, good to donate where you get your spiritual food, and look for it's really a new freedom that you have, that you're being given as part of the curriculum on day 200. So look for that new freedom. And I will see you next week. Bye.